The following program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.
Good afternoon and welcome to Chattin with Jocelyn. I'm so glad that you could join me. We have a great show planned. We're going to talk about current events. I know everybody wants us to talk about this and that and this rumor and that rumor and this person said this and this person said that. You need to understand one thing and one thing only about Julian. And that is that he doesn't want people to be fighting with each other. He doesn't want people to be making up rumors and accusing people of this and that. He doesn't want people to just being nasty, typical politician favoritism garbage, which is what we've been looking at for decades. We have people running for governor in the state of New Hampshire. We have Karen Testerman. She has been running for We the People to represent us for well over a decade, started many different organizations. We have another person by the name of, I believe it's Thad Riley, and we now have Julian running for governor. This is the beauty of the United States. You can run for any position that you would like, and it's up to your interaction with the people and if they choose you. It's not up to the GOP, it's not up to the DNC, it's not up to the governor, it's not up to all these people, although it has been in the past because they've been buying the votes and cheating and manipulating and all these other things, which is what the last 3 years has been about, is exposing corruption, exposing lies, exposing hypocrisy. We're not gonna fiddle around anymore so that your feelings are not hurt and this one's feelings aren't hurt. When you are destroying a city, a town, a state, a person, a country, too bad about your feelings. The truth has to come out.
Yes.
Thank you so much for joining.
Thank you for having me again.
I love
it.
I love it, Julian. So let's talk about current events. Let's talk about, do you want to go federal?
Sure, let's go federal and then bring it down to state level.
I love it. So we have various governors in this country who believe they are dictators. They believe that their executive order actually applies to you and me, when in fact executive orders pertain to their administration and their administration only.
Yes.
We have legislative branches in our states who haven't a clue that their job is to get rid of bad laws, bring in new laws that we the people have asked them to bring in, and to represent we the people. And we have a judicial branch in every state that is supposed to opine, have an opinion, make a judgment on, not pass law. These things, these three branches of government in every state and the three branches of government in Washington, D.C. are corrupt, dysfunctional, and need to be totally redone, and we need to go down to a 10% government. What say you?
If you get it down to 10% government, damn, I swear that's a miracle. Jesus must have come back, because that's pretty much what it's going to take. At this point, you look at the federal government. The reason why executives are able to get away with everything that they're able to do is because the state legislatures have abdicated the responsibility, and they've also abdicated the accountability. So when you give up the responsibility, and the executive takes action instead of you, you're scot-free. You get to stay there for 20, 30 years, representing we the people, while the executive gets in and gets fast changeover rate. And it happens in DC as well. Yeah. So that's happening in California. It's happening in literally every state in the country. I guarantee you throw a rock in any direction, you'll hit a state where you'll see 20, 30-year state legislators. And unlike New Hampshire, they actually get they get paid.
Yeah.
So that's soaking up tax dollars, but are you really getting a return on your investment?
No.
No.
Well, we don't have any say. The basic rights of we the people, our God-given rights, have been stompled and stomped into the ground, and we allowed it.
Yep.
Because it was the easier thing to do, or we didn't know any better because civics aren't being taught in the schools.
And
but
we could have a chance to get rid of most of these people, but we snipe the people who mean the best early on. Because, and I mean, you know, I don't talk about what Democrats do primarily because Democrats do Democrat shit. You're not getting rid of that. It's a cesspool. They're never going to change, and the only way they're going to change is when they get bludgeoned by society or bludgeoned by reality enough that they go, maybe I should go over there. They have a little bit of freedom and liberty over there. Our issue is that we attack each other so much personally throughout the election cycle that our people are damn near unelectable by the time we get to a general election.
Now,
I prefer to argue with somebody based on policy.
Correct. Who is doing this? Who is creating and fomenting this negativity, this backstabbing, all the other, what we're looking at, eating our own? And I mean, it does happen at the DNC. They just have a tighter rope around everybody and squash them down faster and quicker and more violently. You know, is it the GOP? Is it the local GOP? Is it the state GOP? Who is doing this?
Well, the state GOP and the local GOPs, I mean, they do that all the time. They'll play we're not taking sides, but we're also taking sides. And my whole perspective on that is, hey, look, if you're going to take a side, then be honest about it. Be honest about the fact that you're not going to follow the bylaws. And then you can't complain when everybody else does. And if the state party is going to not follow their bylaws and they're going to support the governor, even though he's in a primary, or the national party is not going to follow their bylaws and they're going to support the governor, even though he's in a primary, then you know what? Free for all. All the state party chairs and town committees and county committees, go ahead and endorse your favorite candidate. Because I can tell you right now, a lot of those people are the most active and they're the most pissed off, and it's not going to go the way that the state party thinks. It wouldn't look pretty,
that's for sure.
Oh, no, because it's not going to go the way they think. They're not going to be endorsing most establishment candidates.
It's funny how, you know, we don't endorse anybody till after the primary, but yet they've got that candidate's picture up in the window. Wink, wink, nod, nod. And
that happens nationwide in states all over the country. So we're not unique
we're not any
in
different,
that matter. It's elections get so personal because you're investing your time, you're investing your money, I mean, a lot of these candidates, in this state at least, you get to meet them personally.
Correct.
So you get to sit down and have coffee with them because we're a very grassroots kind of state.
We're truly a grassroots state.
Yeah, so you get to meet all these people personally, and it kind of hurts when you find out that somebody else is screwing them over. And I've always said, primaries are good things. I believe in a free market of ideas. The best ideas will win out. Do I understand the reality of how politics works? Yes, I do. But, so, like, I'm a supporter of the Resolve here in New Hampshire. Big supporter of the initiative. I believe that's going to solve the three-way primary on the Liberty side of the aisle. Now, what we need to focus on is not just campaigning within our Liberty side of the aisle, because there are a lot of other people who are very pissed off about what has been going on, and they will not vote for someone if they don't know there is someone to vote for.
Correct.
And
we have a lot of independents in this state, as we do in many states, actually. The numbers that I'm hearing nationally, if I'm remembering the numbers, somewhere in the 40% is actual independents. So that's
right, around
about
30%
half and half.
Democrats, 30% Republicans, and about 40%
independents.
And that's
a big
rising
swath of
too.
people.
And that's rising too, because, and this is what I've been worried about, is obviously I've been a black activist and trying to bring black voters over to the Republican Party, where we should be, or at least where all of our history was. I look nationally and I see Joe Biden has done the worst with minorities that the Democrat Party has ever done. We have a great opportunity. We're bringing Hispanics in at record rates. Blacks are leaving the Democrats at record rates, but they're not coming over here.
Correct.
And they're not even going libertarian, which tells me we are having a serious problem right now, because either if they're leaving the party and we're not even presenting ourselves as an option, what are we doing?
Yeah. What are we doing and where are they going?
They're becoming disengaged.
Correct. Which
They're
is terrible.
disenchanted, they're disengaged, and they're going, well, it's broken, I'm going to walk away. And one of the things that I hate hearing the most is, I'm going to walk away. I'm like, why? Well, I don't like what's happening. So do something. No, I don't want to do something. I'm just going to walk away. I'm done. I feel beaten. And you know what it is? We have not had activism on this side of the aisle in a very, very, very
Correct.
long time. We just put it into work over maybe the last 10 years, I'll say, since the Tea Party movement. And that got squashed initially. But we had a second coming that happened when Donald Trump started running. During that election and now through the Biden administration, we've had more activism than we've ever had. But the problem is, people feel like they're losing because we're being fought by the very same people who lead our party.
Correct.
Nationally, at the state level, and even sometimes at the local level.
Correct.
And what it is there is a group of Republicans who may agree with us intellectually, but their problem is that they want to return to the good old days. They want to
Good
return.
Old Boys Club, not necessarily good old days.
No, they're naive. They think that there can be a return to some sort of rationality where we could talk to the Democrats and we could agree on things. That's not the world that we live in. We're in a big...
We can't go back there.
No, we're in a reset. We're in the entire dynamics of politics are being reset right now. And I got to give credit to Don and Bruce have both been very, very honest about that. And they're the only candidates that I've seen being very honest about that. We're in a reset right now where we are going to move forward. The world is progressing around you. You can either adapt to the world or you can get
stand
left
still
behind.
and get left behind, yeah.
And that's where we're at right now, is you see the older generation of political pundits and politicians trying to adapt their old school thinking to these new ideas or these new just get things done attitude.
Yeah.
And they just don't
They
fit.
can't. They
No.
can't. They've still got a leg back there with a chain on it. And
Look at Sean Handy, used to be a firebrand, right?
Yes.
Then he goes and he starts endorsing random establishment candidates all over the country. And what's his excuse? The same excuse we always hear: electability. You don't know what their electability is. They're not even in a general election.
Correct. And that's
You can't
assuming an
weigh
awful
somebody's
lot.
electability. Like my study is behavioral psychology.
Okay.
You can't weigh somebody's electability before they're in a position where you can actually see it. We don't know how Don Bolduc would do in a general election because we haven't seen him in a general election.
Correct.
We don't know how any of the primary candidates
We're being
for the
told
Senate
how
or
they're gonna do.
CD1. Oh yeah.
Again, they
And
select
poll
who we
numbers.
elect, and they tell us what the poll numbers are. And in actual fact, we have no clue what the polling numbers are, because they will poll in a city just one group of people, and they may have 20 people if you're lucky, maybe 50. And out of those 50, they're all from an echo chamber.
Yeah.
They're all from one certain neighborhood, and they ask them one question, and they're always leading questions.
Yeah. So here's a good one. Most polling questions are very leading in the way
Correct.
that they're written to elicit a specific answer or to direct you down a path. They're not
Really looking for
They're not
your
long
truth. Yeah.
answers. They're yes or no, and I'm giving you the answer, yes or no, do you agree with it? And I disagree with that fundamentally, because you're not getting an honest poll, obviously. But
Can I tell you real
at
quick
the
what
same
I
time,
do?
you're calling 1,500 people. So who's going to pick up the phone and not hang up on you and actually do the survey? You're most politically activated.
Correct. So they only
And-
talk to them.
Yeah, and out of those politically activated, who's going to give you a response worth a damn? It's usually going to be your most politically educated.
Yep.
So the
pool goes-
majority of the population is, one, not politically educated and not politically engaged. So that skews it right there. the average person is not politically educated, even if they're activated. That skews it down there. I mean, we all have our ideas of how we think things work until you see behind the curtain and you're like, that's how they actually work. That's sick. That's disgusting. So once you get it down to that tiny little group, then you pull 1,500 out of that tiny group of maybe, what, 10,000? 10,000 activists in the state. And then they're the ones who give you the answer. And they're weighing in their own personal agendas. They're weighing in electability. They're weighing in a whole bunch of other stuff that has how much a candidate is fundraise.
Correct.
It's amazing.
How much
the very
interaction
same
they've had.
people who don't like how money runs politics go, I'm going to vote for that person because they've raised the most
amount of money.
I'm like, so how are you going to get represented the way you want to? Well, they're already going to win. Yeah, they're going to win
But how are they
because you
gonna
just
represent
decided
you?
they're going to win, and you decide to give them your vote because you think they're a winner. And why don't you're on a primary, vote for the guy you want, not the guy you think is
gonna
going to win regardless of who you vote
and might
for.
represent you and might
Yeah.
fight for you and might go up against the governor or whoever else that is doing unconstitutional and illegal.
Yeah, vote for the guy you want in the primary.
Yep.
Then in general, you vote for the guy that you have.
You wait till somebody wins and then you make the next bigger decision.
Like,
I have to agree with you 100%
if I lose
on
the
that.
primary, I will totally support in August after the resolve debates.
Yep.
If I'm not the candidate, I will back 100% Thad or Karen. I will vote for them and pound the pavement for them, knock doors for them, and I knock a lot of doors.
You do not. I have to say that Julian goes out with multiple candidates and he door knocks with them because, number one, you're helping someone you believe in, but you're also getting your face and your name out there. You're allowing people to say,
well, I purposely don't hand out my material when
correct.
I'm door
I was just
knocking
going to
with
say
another
you don't.
candidate.
You go with them, but you're hi, I'm Julian Acciard, and you may just leave it at that so the name registers in their head and you come back a couple of times, but you are actually showing people that you are there to support the person you're door knocking with, that you are supporting that person on that day at that time, which we all need to be doing. You don't have to. What I can't stand are these people that go, I like this person and this is the only person I'm going to vote for. That means you're now closed-minded. You're now living in an echo chamber. You're not hearing anybody or anything. You're not even entertaining a thought that maybe you need to question your candidate and say, you know what, that's not constitutional. Or, hey, you know what, that's not on the party platform. Or, that's unbiblical. Whatever you want to say it is, if you are that close-minded and you are attacking people, which we've seen for the last month, pretty intense, the last week's really escalated, which brings me, let's flip this hearing. My show on Tuesday, so we have this hearing, the January 6th hearing, and just take the word hearing.
Yeah.
I'm talking.
Hearing a whole bunch of bull.
Yeah, but I'm talking and you're hearing me.
Yeah.
But yet, up there in D.C., they're not hearing.
No.
They're just spewing from one side what they want to hear. There's no listening. It's not a hearing because there's nobody else saying anything different. It's, well, we went and got some Republicans. Well, did you?
Well, the hearing process is always supposed to be a sort of like a mock courtroom. It's supposed to follow the same structure of being in a courtroom. But
there's
no
rebuttals.
cross-examination, there's no rebuttals, there's no defense, you can't call witnesses, you can't question the witnesses. So I'm like, wait a minute.
This?
So you're proposing, you're bringing all these people up. Most of what they've said turned out to be false, and they've been debunked or hearsay, or third hand hearsay. So I heard somebody who heard somebody who heard something.
That told me.
Who told me. And I'm like, yeah,
Oh,
you've never played telephone in school, obviously.
It's a very sad, sad day.
Apparently Donald Trump is John Wick and can just jump into the driver's seat of a car and steer it like this is an action movie.
Look at the
heard he
blueprint
climbed on
of
the outside.
the beast. Oh, did you?
I heard he climbed on the outside and he did a backflip on the roof and then climbed into the
Front
seat.
summy and
Yeah.
stuck his toe in the door handle
Yeah.
and
It was
squeezed
like
in
the
through the
scene
crack.
right out of Deadpool. It was fantastic.
On my show on Tuesday, I got a blueprint of the beast.
Yep.
And I was like, seriously, people, do you not know that there's no going between the two sections?
Oh,
There's
no.
a reason for that. Hello? The stupidity is epic.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, this is like,
They really do think that we're all
we're
stupid.
that stupid.
They think that we're all that stupid.
Yep.
I mean, and that's one of the main reasons why every time we voice our grievances with them, they just go, "Yeah, it's nice. I'm going to do my own thing anyways."
Mm-hmm. Well, this is exactly, we've got Daniel Richard in the state. We are so lucky to have Daniel. He is photographic memory. He is a constitutionalist. He was Canadian and became an American citizen, and specifically a New Hampshire citizen.
Yes.
And he is schooling the attorneys, the judicial, the legislative, and the executive branch of New Hampshire because they are completely blind.
Even other lawyers got invited in to watch him do it so they could learn, which is amazing. Honestly, what he's done is nothing short of spectacular. Like, I think what this shift that we're seeing right now, everything in the culture is moving in our direction.
Yeah.
The Second Amendment's moving in our direction. It's actually the establishment that has screwed it up because the overall culture in the United States, we've had more gun buyers left and right, and assault rifle
Armalite.
purchases that we've had in the last 3 years than we have ever. So now, like, everyone's got 2 or 3 guns. I'm happy with this because
get trained, know what you're doing, understand your rights, understand the Constitution.
and keep it away from kids. For God's sake, keep it away from your kids.
Yeah.
But unless you're teaching them.
Right.
Like, my son cleans my guns with me. But
My son taught me how to clean guns.
no, there you go. So I'm sitting
Is that
here
a
like
Marine Corps thing? I'm thinking it is. Yeah.
It is. But I'm sitting here going, wait a minute, everything's moving our direction. The pro-life movement's moving our direction. The Supreme Court is just dropping bodies of old bad legislation and bad decisions right now.
That they should never, that you should never have had anything to do with, that they should never opined on, should never gone to D.C. It should have stayed in the States.
I just had this discussion with a lawyer. Roe v. Wade was unconstitutional. It was based on false information and
It's based on lies.
Yes, it was. And Ruth Bader Ginsburg herself didn't
Said,
even like the decision.
correct.
Her and Antonin Scalia agreed on that. And I'm like, wait a minute. If Miss Roe v. Wade herself does not like this, that was her big issue.
It was. You know,
And would you know, she was the leftist, she was the far left's, like, prodigal child. Her and Antonin Scalia had like a 92% identical voting record.
really, that high?
It's ridiculous.
I knew it was high, but I didn't think it was that high.
It was really high. It's like, I know it's in the 90s, but it was really up there. And they only it's because they agreed on the structure of the legal system and what the Supreme Court was supposed to be doing. So they honestly agreed and debated more often than they disagreed, which I thought was absolutely amazing. I'm like,
But see, that's the
'Cause
way
that's
it's
old
supposed to be.
Yeah.
You know,
like, people tell me I'm crazy when I say that I have friends on the left. I go, yeah, I have friends on the left. I had guys I served with that would take a bullet for me in a heartbeat. One of them's going down. So we lost one of our brothers last Friday.
I did. I'm sorry
So
for that.
he's there. His funeral is tomorrow morning, and everyone's flying into Tampa for his funeral. And this leftist brother of mine is going down there. I'm like, he would take a bullet for me in a heartbeat. I'm not going to not be friends with them because we disagree on politics. We have healthy debates over glasses of bourbon and cigars, and we walk away still loving each other because we're
we're human beings,
Yeah.
we are Americans, and we're patriots.
It's
and
the
it's
saddest
the
thing I
corporation.
ever hear when I see that somebody got a divorce because of politics. I'm like, then you probably should have worked that out before you
got married. Well,
Yeah.
the two parties were it wasn't how it started. It became two parties and dividing everybody and making them hate each other and fight with each other and argue with each other, when the bottom line is right is right, wrong is wrong, black is black, white is white, gray is gray.
Yeah.
And we all need to talk and discuss, not pound on each other and say, you're wrong, me. They've got to.
The left wants their absolutist Marxist society. The right, we want to just take everything back to the Constitution.
Correct.
Our side of the aisle are becoming radicals because we're not being listened to. It's like having a child in Kmart, back when Kmart's are still a thing. I don't know if they're still around. I haven't
No,
seen
they're
them
not.
in a long time.
I liked the blue light sale.
Yeah. But back when there was a Kmart, your kids, mommy. Well, if you don't answer them, now they start throwing temper tantrums.
Correct. They get
stuff.
louder or throw things or knocks things off or
Works the same way
fall
with
on the floor.
adults. Yeah, works the same way with adults. If we're
They get
not
louder
being
and louder.
listened, eventually we're going to kick your door and make you listen to us. It's how you create a radical, is you ignore them.
Isn't that what the meetings that that many of us went to, the multiple meetings about the $27 million that the governor, because we expressed our God-given rights, our First Amendment rights to an opinion and to speak, and because we got a little loud because you kept moving the meeting and saying it was too small, every single thing?
Every single issue. So medical freedom.
Yep.
I was there at those meetings. They kept getting moved, and we couldn't have our grievances heard.
Correct.
School board meetings over the mask mandates
Couldn't
be heard, and we kept getting shut down, and people started getting arrested. Then you had the the fight over CRT?
Yep.
Same thing.
CRT, CSC, yeah.
Yep, same thing with that. We started getting kicked out of meetings and stuff. Election integrity. Couldn't hear our grievances there either.
Nope.
Then the 27 million that came with strings attached on how we were going to run our state. Couldn't hear our grievances on that. All we were asking for was to be heard. And I got asked in my meeting, in my interview with Adam Sexton, whether or not I tacitly endorsed the breaking up of the first meeting. I go, or some of the language that we use. I go, no. My job is to listen to people and hear their grievances. Even if I disagree with their tactics, even if I disagree with their point, my job is to listen. I will argue my position, but my job is still to listen. And I agreed we shouldn't have mandates. We shouldn't have CRT. We shouldn't be telling people what to put in their bodies. We shouldn't be telling people that they need to abort their babies or funding it in any way, shape, or form. We shouldn't be doing all this.
Right. It's not our business sometimes. Sometimes it's just not our business.
Yeah.
And we have to go back to the Constitution, back to the rule of law, and back to the way the Founding Fathers laid the platform so that we can take the next step and the next step and not do it based on feelings or likability or what's the coolest thing to be or who's going to give us the most money.
Yeah. I'm basically to be honest, I was nice and I put on my suit today because
look nice,
I have
thank you.
things to do.
Yep.
But I was in the mood. I was going to come in my America First cowboy hat and my jeans and my
We can
boots
do
and
that
just
next
be
time.
like, just
Yep.
screw it. Because I'm at the point where I'm like, you know what? You don't want somebody to fight for you. You want somebody to tell you what you want to hear.
Someone to pat you on the back and tell you you're wonderful and you're great.
Yeah, like I'll fight for you. I'll go to the mat for you. I've sacrificed literally everything in my life. I'm literally on the edge of losing my house because I sacrificed everything. Because I put everything into this race, everything into this state, and I did not come out of the pandemic unscathed.
You own a business.
Yes. I own a business.
You
and
take
I
very good care of
sacrifice-
your employees.
Yes, we were paying their gas to get them to and from work. My wife was out of work for about 9 months, and then she was off and on when she went back. And it was just one hit after another, after another, after another. And then campaigning, and then when everything started to go back to normal, then all of a sudden when we started to fill out the paperwork to restart our mortgage back up like everyone else did, all of a sudden we found ourselves in foreclosure proceedings.
Wow.
So I basically now I'm going to be able to keep my house. I'm doing the paperwork now. But
That's
I was
good
literally
news.
on the edge of losing everything because I sacrificed literally everything for the state. I sleep 3 hours a night.
Wow, you sound like me. I'm about 4.5. Well, I want to thank you. Our half hour went very quickly, but I'd like to have you come back. We definitely want to. What is the date of the debate in August?
August 5th, the Resolve debates is going to be in Wolfboro. Go to wethepeople.com and check that out.
And we will see you and Karen and Thad, and we will be able to hear your answers to questions that Daniel Richard will be posing, and we can find out all about where you stand, where they stand, and be able to hear the differences right there, firsthand, face to face.
I believe it'll be a good debate amongst friends. I believe we agree on quite a bit. So it'll be who do you believe is going to fight for you?
Correct.
And who do you believe is going to be effective?
I love it. Thank you so much for coming. I appreciate it. You're a great guy to talk to. And we meet up a lot in society, and you're always polite. I love your kids and your wife. And it's really nice to be able to let the people know who you are, talk about current events, and not certain questions that have canned answers to it.
Oh, yeah. I hate canned answers.
I love it. So not a canned guy. You heard it here. So I want to thank you for joining us, and I will see you next time, Chit-Chatting with Jocelyn. Have a great night.
The preceding program was provided by an independent producer solely responsible for its content. The opinions expressed do not necessarily represent the views of this station, its staff, board of directors, or underwriters.